5.6 Council Performance Report. Mr. CEO.
So yeah, I'll start that off, Your Worship, and then the team can walk you through what we need to. But this is obviously a performance report for the months of November, December, January, despite the fact we're now at the end of February. So it takes that busy summer period. I guess in summary, I'd say that that it has been a very busy summer period. And whilst we've had some issues over that time, I'd definitely class them as growing pains due to us being so busy. Just out of interest, yesterday we got the December Economic Indicator report from our independent economist. And I think it's probably worthwhile just sort of quickly highlighting a couple of those because it does make really good reading for our district. So he's identified through there that we had a notable gain in population over the 12 months to December. We had growth in the value and volume of our building consents, increased sales and values of residential property, significant increase in the retail spend, and significant gains in visitor nights, stays and spend. So combined, that's given Taupo District, will put Taupo District in a really strong place. The summary of that is that we've had 2.8% GDP growth in the last year, as opposed to the national average of 2.4%. So I think it's fair to say that we're punching above our weight, above the average. And as I say, that's been demonstrated, I think, by just how busy town has been over that summer period. So that's the good news. Flowing on from that, you'll see in the financial results for the period also positive, mainly due to income, and that's mainly due to those things that I've just talked about. So increased building consents, increased population, leading to increased developments and therefore development contributions. But not to be understated, also $500,000 less than budgeted in our expenses. So all in all, it's a pretty positive place to be. I'll hand over to the three musketeers at the front to walk you through.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Green. Okay. Mr. Ward.
Thanks, Gareth. I think you've pretty well stolen my thunder and said everything that I know to say, really. So, which is fine. I'm more than happy with that, actually. So probably I won't repeat it too much. It is a revenue story, as Gareth said. Key areas there on the front page of the financials is.
Neil, I'll stop you. Just make sure people are looking at the same piece. So they.
Sorry. Yes, we did have a slight hiccup this month, but the good news story is that the handout that we've given you is slightly enlarged for the optically impaired like myself. So that hopefully might help. So in terms of the financials, we need to be working off the handout. But then when we come to the performance measures, that is the one in the main agenda. So apologies for the slight mix-up there, but hopefully we can work through that. So a revenue story, 3 million ahead in revenue is the main point to make there. And that's across the groups of activities through community service, transport, facilities and investments is the three main groups of activities where that occurs. So I think we'll move through to the next page there. The financial statement measures, we're on track in terms of our financial strategy on debt. Investments, we're ahead in terms of cash, giving us our net debt picture a lot better. Moving on to the next page, which is just the straight financials. Again, the explanations on the right there, which we've already covered in terms of the stronger revenue story coming through and the $500,000 under in expenditure.
Feel free to ask questions if you want.
Yeah, I'll pause there before we go into the group of activities, if you like. Sorry.
Through the chair, can we jump back a page? Sorry. Through the chair, to the financial statement measures. Capital expenditure 9 million. So we're saying there's 18 million that we haven't spent. Correct?
That is correct. Yes.
And what does that relate to?
We'll cover that as we go through the activity statements. It's probably the easiest way to do that. Yeah. So in terms of the third page there, the key descriptors of the variances are on the right table there. I'm happy to take any questions on that, or we can move through to the activity statements. Okay, I'll jump into the first one there. Nick will talk us through community services.
As was noted, revenue's been up, particularly around fees and charges. It's probably the key number in terms of the actual financials. If you look at the performance reporting, a couple of issues that have occurred around essentially responding to issues which have been raised in terms of food safety and noise complaints. You will have noted there's been a couple of communication challenges there in terms of our internal systems, which led to those. Those have now been resolved, so you shouldn't see those occur again.
Right, water. As you'll see there, our performance measures were meeting 100%. Just perhaps an update for the Waitanui. That's our biggest capital spend this year. The registrations of interest for the contractors for that closes today. We'll be shortlisting contractors for a request for tender, which will be open through March through April, and looking to award a tender for that contract in the April meeting. The only other one of note there, Bonshaw Park, we've been working on that third well. We have found a reasonable supply of cold water that's low in arsenic, but it's also high in iron and aluminium, and we're just working through those issues at the moment. We have one more flow test to do before we confirm that as a productive well. The rest of those projects are pretty much running to target. Transport, we had a little bit of a hiccup here with our response to customer services over the Christmas break, mainly due to staff being off sick and on leave, and make sure that by using existing resources and temporary staff that we meet those timeframes.
Mr. Chairman, Councillor Body. Mr. Lewis, where are we with the changes on the traffic plan for Acacia Bay Road? I remember you did some meterage out there on, and you sent me the email way back probably 12 months ago.
Is this the shifting of the speeds?
Correct.
The speed sign? No, I'll have to find out where the contractor's at with that and get back to you.
Yeah, thank you.
The seal extension is commencing tomorrow. Koipi Road's finished, and the Hooker Falls we expect to go out to tender in March. As I mentioned at the last meeting, we had some issues with the costings that came through with the tender for the Whariwaka to Rainbow Point, and we're reviewing the design for that one.
Councillor Pickling.
Dennis, just a query on capital expenditure.
Yes.
I see it as 4.3. I can see that there's probably 2.5 renewals, but under the capital works list there, there's 4.3 million, but where does it all? Where does it add up?
So how's it all fit in? You're right. There's about 2.7 worth of renewals in that 4.3 million.
Through that graph, yes.
And there's about 1.3 million of bow wave from previous years.
Yeah.
So what the financial report covers both bow wave from previous years and the current capital spend.
Yeah.
And that's largely where that difference is.
I just couldn't sort of join the figures together a little bit. I could see the renewals and the capital works thing, but it didn't quite calculate. Thank you.
Community facilities.
Not much to say under community facilities, obviously not many projects. You will notice there's a couple of red and orange marks on our beautiful little donut graph. They essentially reflect the satisfaction measures that we have, and we've previously reported at the beginning of the financial year. So that's why you're seeing those. The good news is that we're due to go out with that NRB satisfaction survey again in the next couple of months. And that means that by the end of the financial year, we'll have a new set of satisfaction results, which we'll be able to report to you, and then again through the annual report through the community as well. So those will be updated.
Probably the only thing I'd say there on the finances as well is that you'll see that the fees and charges there, again, that's that revenue story quite a way ahead. And the only other item to note there is probably you'll see the depreciation costs are quite a bit ahead. That's due to the land and building revaluation is at 30 June 16, where the both land and buildings valuations increased quite significantly. No depreciation on land, obviously. That's been, if you like, taken care of through the 17-18 annual plan, so you won't see a large variance next year on that.
Wastewater. There's a couple of projects there that have fallen behind, and we've been reporting those for a period of time. The Turangi wastewater treatment plant's going to stay like that until next summer. It's dependent on DIA doing the dredging of the canal. Kinloch wastewater disposal field, we need to undertake some consultation based on an RFT that we've developed. Just another note, you would be aware that we were going to start up a vermicomposting operation to deal with our biosolids. Well, the first load was taken in there a couple of weeks ago. Once we get a decent amount of vermicompost or worms, or there's something to show, then we'll do something more formally, but it is operating now, and the biosolids are going up to the vermicomposting plant.
Good news.
Solid waste. Again, we've been reporting through the year that we're not going to meet our waste reduction, and that's largely due to the economic activity. It will be helped somewhat by the biosolids that now are going up to the vermicomposting operation. And the new cell in the landfill, that work is progressing as anticipated.
Reflected by the additional revenue that you've seen in that activity.
Stormwater, everything's pretty much going to plan. The Tauripa stormwater device, we're looking to put that out to tender shortly for construction in May, when hopefully events and traffic and whatever you dies down around the town for a little while, so we can build some stuff.
Right, again, democracy and planning, you will have noted the performance measures are not being met for about 29% of them. Again, that's just those satisfaction measures, particularly around, no, that's simply about the performance measures which relate to satisfaction. So we'll come back up with some revised ones once we've got the NRB results. In terms of projects, three I want to highlight. The Turangi Reserve Management Plan is progressing but slowly, so that's why it's marked as a red. It's very important from our perspective that we do that hand in hand with Ngāti Turangi Tūkua. It's very much a partnership project, and what that means is we need to give and take a little bit in terms of those timeframes on that. Okay. In terms of the cycling and walking strategy, simply from a resourcing perspective, we've had to slow that down a little bit. We still expect to have a draft by the end of the financial year, and that will involve some pre-engagement with Bike Taupo and Access Taupo and other interested parties. So that's moving along, just not quite as fast as we would have liked. What that means is the consultation part of that project will fall into the 17-18 year, near the beginning.
The speed bylaw review is being held up because NZTA were developing a speed management guide. That's now just been released in the last couple of weeks. So we need to have a look at that and see what impact that's going to have on our speed limit bylaw, and then build that into that work stream.
Rightio, over to the investment activity. Again, a pretty strong revenue story there coming through in the fees and charges around the limbs, which is really a community services type stuff with regulatory. Finance revenue 249 ahead there on our investment revenue, and the other revenue there is primarily unrealised foreign exchange gains and some realised gains there as well, driving that number. And on the flip side, there's a couple of unrealised losses there on foreign exchange as well on the investment activity. In terms of performance measures, that's everything's on track in terms of the investments.
Lastly, from me, in terms of economic development, you'll notice a few oranges there. That's simply reflecting not the good news that Gareth talked about in terms of the latest market view data, but the previous quarter's data. So that's simply a case of us catching up in terms of the reporting. So the good news that we've just heard about today will be reflected in your next monthly performance report.
Cool. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Anything else?
Yeah, I'll probably just quickly skim through the Treasury report.
Yeah, sure. So page 117 on my report, hopefully the same number, is just got the summary of the Treasury report, but I'll dive into the individual elements of it. So the investments, page 118, probably the thing to point out there is that and the graph on the right-hand side, the red bars there, the short-term cash, we just breached that limit momentarily around month ends, chasing some slightly higher yields. But that didn't impact upon our cash flows in any way, and the explanations around that are on the left-hand side under performance policy compliance. And you'll see there from the graph on the bottom left that our investment returns there in a dollar sense are tracking very strongly. So it's a good news story there. Page is right. 119. You may recall last month I reported that we would be, referencing the graph on the right-hand side, the kind of fawny coloured, orangey, whatever that colour is, bar on 2 to 3 years. This week, was it last week? I can't remember. We just got signed off on our extension to our 40 million credit line with the BNZ out to 31 December 2020. So that locks in some good liquidity there. So that most of that bar jumps over into the 3 to 4 year area. So very strong on liquidity there, which is one of our key metrics that we measure. The same story regarding interest rate risk position and performance there that we've talked about every month in the descriptions there. Page 120, probably the key area to note there is that we're just fractionally behind on the TL performance, but by the end of the year we're confident that will be above the dollar budget there. And page 121, all in compliance on the credit exposure counterparty limits. Oh, that's nice.
And that's it from us.
Thanks very much, Neil. Thank you. Gentlemen, any questions or queries, Mr. Green?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one question for Mr. Green. On page 75 under emerging challenges, we talk about the whakaaro litigation. Are we noting there's contingent liability in our accounts?
Yes, we are currently.
We are.
Yes.
That was my question as well, but however, I just want to ask this economic indicator that we received for December, do we pay to get that?
It's one of the items of delivery from Enterprise Great Lake Taupo, so we do pay, but through that grant.
Just that they're available to anyone on the internet. I print them off regularly, so should be getting them for nothing.
This one's tailored to the Taupo District.
That's the one.
Yep.
That's what I'm talking about. Councillor Cousins.
Through the chair, I just wanted to just note it on pulling out the first page with the statement of comprehensive revenue and expenses. We're running well ahead for our total revenue, which I can only assume has been bolstered by our development and fees, or something like 8%. But we've managed to hold our personnel employment costs. That's down by 4%. That's pretty good. Is that Tina, did you take a pay cut or?
Management.
Good girl. Champagne for you for Christmas.
For the Queen.
No, I think Mr. Green alluded to that earlier on, Mr. Ward, you know, the operating cost down and revenue up. It's got to be a good news story. So that's what we aspire to be. So, Councillor Williamson.
Through the Chair, just regarding page 117, regarding the TF owner says 11% investment in the share market. I'm personally pretty happy with, I know realised, unrealised foreign exchange gains. The $700,000 is, they're not sold, but it's a gain, it's positive. And also realised foreign exchange gains are positive 55,000. So I'm pretty happy to see those figures. I have always complete confidence in the financial.
We have actually been quite active through the chair in this regard. For example, last week we sold some National Australia Bank shares, which gave us in 3 months a 13% return. So it's just a matter of when we buy, we have an exit strategy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williamson. Councillor Williamson, sorry. Any other questions or queries of the Chief Executive and his team this afternoon? No? All right, suggested recommendation there. The Council notes the information contained in the Council Performance Report, month of December. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Park, seconded by Councillor Rankin. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those against? Carried. Okay, so we'll go now, as per arrangements, we'll go to 6.3, Ruapehu Alpine Lifts Economic Development Opportunity.
Mr. Chairman, as this was to be in confidence, some of our guests will not have this document to read while we go through it. Is there any way that they can be supplied?
We'll take a
2-minute break.
Do you want to pay for it now, or should we we'll get the copies now?
Get the copies. Okay, while we're getting copies, perhaps we'll sneak through to the next item, perhaps. Okay. So we'll go to 5.6. We'll go back to 5.7. Adoption of Taupo District Council local government statement. Who is presenting that? Oh, Tina. Okay, that doesn't help, does it? All right, we'll have a 2-minute break then.